Hi, everyone. I am Molly Ketchum, and I am the 2022 ProTrack Administrator. And with me here is Jim Canarucci, the ProTrack Dean. The ProTrack is all new this year, and Jim and I will explore some of its features and benefits. So welcome, Jim.
Thank you. First of all, Molly, I want to say how grateful I am that you are the ProTrack Administrator. You've gone through the program, and I think you're going to do a great job of taking care of our students this class.
There are a lot of changes to ProTrack, and we will get to that. But first, for those who may not be familiar, tell us what ProTrack is.
So yeah, what is ProTrack? ProTrack is a service that NSA Ohio has provided for over 20 years, believe it or not. And the idea is that it's a professional development program for speakers, for people who want to make professional speaking a sustainable business over time. So it's a comprehensive program, and historically, we started with the process of being in person completely, right? So full 8-hour workshop type sessions. And one of the things that we found was the gem of the program, Molly, was that the faculty, NSA Ohio professional members, were the faculty. And so if you're learning from that individual in your workshop, you then can see that individual at the next meeting, et cetera. You could ask them questions, you could spend time with them and interact with them and really go deep with the material. And yes, we are revamping and we've made a lot of changes, but that's one of the things that we really wanted to maintain, and I believe that we have. That local connection to the content, to the material, because you're in a process as a ProTracker, we tend to refer to them as ProTrackers, is that you're growing your business, and we want to be there with you and help you through that process. So that's something that we definitely wanted to keep. So this is a journey, ProTrack. You're on the track to becoming a professional speaker.
Thank you. So let's talk about some of the changes that we've made and why. First of all, our positions, administrator and dean, that's new.
Right, I think, so the administrative job, historically, it's a volunteer role, of course, everybody should understand that, and they were responsible, the administrators were responsible for everything, including marketing, getting people into the program, making copies, getting the coffee, the whole bit. And so one of the things, we still have the ProTrack administrator, you'll play that role, and we are keeping that, and it's still a 1-year term. And that was one of the problems that we had with the ProTrack administrator doing everything. We lost some of the continuity. So we added this new position of ProTrack Dean, and the responsibilities there are to maintain the curriculum, make sure it's the latest and greatest, update it and upgrade it as we go. It's not a single-year term, it's an ongoing term, so that we can build that continuity into it. The ProTrack administrator could focus on taking care of the students, and the dean could oversee the faculty, the curriculum, et cetera. So that's a big change that we've made, and I think for the better.
What about the infrastructure of the program? Tell us how that looks like, what that looks like now.
Well, again, a reason for revamping. When you're focused exclusively in a workshop setting, it dictates a bit, right? Is that facilitator or faculty member available? Well, you're already here in the room. Let's put 2 or 3 topics in and fill that day, right? So we lose some of the order of things and, in effect, what's best for the student. So one of the things that we're doing is really shifting that whole schedule around. When you need to be in the classroom for a workshop, after all, we speak in front of people in rooms. We have to do that part. But we're also adding a variety of medium. So watching video, reading, doing assessments. A lot of work we find our ProTrackers doing is in their office privately. But when we lump it all together into one workshop day and then go off and do your homework, we lose a lot of the connectivity, the at the elbow with your faculty member that we're trying to enhance with our revamped program. So we're going to use some technology. Technology is not going to drive the process, but it's certainly designed to support the process for us.
Okay, so let's get into those details. First, how long is the program, and then what does the curriculum look like?
The program is from January until May. And so one of the things that we did was actually challenge our faculty with this. let's do more, actually offer more content, and rather than a 9 to 12 month time window, let's do it in less time. So January through May is the time frame. And you can see up on the screen the curriculum. We start with an orientation, and then the next segment is my expertise. And that's focusing on my topic. So often the topic drives everything we do, what area. And even if you come to the program and have a topic already, can we hone that? Can you get a little deeper in that? Can you get more specialized? So that's what happens in my expertise. My solution is all about taking your message to the marketplace. And how do we do that? Taking advantage of the best practice techniques that are used in product development. When Tide is brought to the market, how do they do that? We could do the same thing with our product. So that's what that's about. We then move to my craft. What happens from this position in front of an audience, and how do you enhance that? Actually, building a program, we'll talk a little detail about my craft as an example for you in a second, but building your program and actually carrying it through and all that goes with it. We then move to marketing and sales. How do we market to both associations or to corporations? We have material on both of those. And then how do you get to the actual sales process? And when we talk about sales, we're not just talking about making those phone calls or writing those articles or whatever we're doing from a marketing standpoint, but we're also talking about contracts, we're talking about pricing, we're talking about negotiation, and getting you to really a business scenario so that you can have that sustainable business. We then talk about books and products, and everything that might bring to your business, and then we tie it together with my business. And then you see graduation. One of the features that we have kept in our program is that in our May meeting, all of the ProTrack students actually stand on this stage and present to their colleagues, which not the easiest thing in the world to do, so it's a hurdle that we want everybody to go through. You can see it's a comprehensive curriculum. We go into a lot of detail. Each of these areas has a department manager who's responsible for the content and responsible for working with the faculty and making sure that we're consistent and we go across the board and use something in the first session in the 7th session, right? So we actually work through that process that way. The structure and technology also allow us, though, to bring in experts from around the country. So we're not singly dependent on the local faculty, but we have that local faculty department manager who can help with answering questions, can facilitate a discussion with that national resource that we're bringing in via video or via a Zoom meeting, et cetera. So we're trying to tie those things together, and that's what the revamping does for us. It gives us a little bit more freedom to do what's best for the student. And that's our driving force at all times in this revamp is what is best for the student, not what necessarily is convenient for us planning it or what have you. So that's a very important part of the program.
Okay, you alluded to it earlier. Can we peek inside one of the departments and take a closer look?
Sure. How about one we could all relate to? That's my craft. Getting up on the stage. And Patrick Donadio, our local member, is the department chair in this section. And what you'll see is we're actually building my presentation. So let's talk about that. I might come to ProTrack and not have a presentation yet. That's typical. I also might come, I have a presentation. I've been doing this for years. I'm joining ProTrack because I want to round out my business. In either perspective there, either extreme, we go through the process of building the presentation so that you can pick up those nuances, those best practices, those subtle little techniques that make all the difference in the world. So let's walk through it. Each of our sections have reading, they have assessments, there's watching videos, there's in-person sessions that are going on. So we do that based on what makes the most sense for learning. We start my craft with the communicating with impact assessment. Now with our technology tool, we have the ability to actually turn in that homework. And so that assignment is turned into the instructor. The instructor looks at it, is very familiar with it. There's a coaching kind of an environment that happens. We have a video to watch on the act of being introduced and creating your introduction, something that's often forgotten, right? And we want to work on that. Then we have a 2-hour in-person session where we're working through the communicating with impact and all the steps of the presentation in minute detail. Some homework's assigned at that point. You're going to create a mind map of your program. And then we're going to have a Zoom session to review that homework. So we're very much holding your hand as we work through this process, answering questions as we go. More homework is assigned where we're going to outline that presentation. Then you're going to come in for a story development process. So we're going to add story to your presentation. And then we do that in a workshop setting as well. And then we're going to add some humor to your presentation, right? That's important. We want people to laugh. And so there's some video work that's done that you can tie in that humor to your presentation. And then we actually come to an in-person session with a panel of other professional speakers that are helping coach you through that process. And when that coaching happens, if there's a connection between one of those panel members with the student, they then link up in a coaching setting through the balance of the program. Because remember, in May, you're going to come here and present that presentation. And so you're going to be coached all the way through that. And then, as you can see, there are some optional things that are here as well. We have examples of humor on video. We have working with diverse audiences, adding things about voice care, and all that goes with my craft. So you can see we're taking a very comprehensive approach to the curriculum and working through it. Now, one of the things that are important and one of our driving forces is continuity. So, for example, in my expertise, the very first segment that you're working with, we go into topic exploration, and you're doing some exercises there. Well, when I get to my solutions or matching the message to the market, we're going to use that work that you did on topic development to fuel what we're doing. So it becomes very personalized within this curriculum. And then we're gonna use it again in my craft, and then we're gonna use it again as you're developing products. So we're taking these exercises as they happen and the assignments as you're building what we consider building your book, right? Because we're gonna throw a fire hose at you for sure as a ProTrack student. And often we're working on our business and we need to come back to it later. So one of the features of this process is that you'll have access to this learning hub, the My ProTrack hub, for a year after the program is completed, so that you can keep that book and keep tweaking it and adding to it as you build your business. That's what this is about, helping you through that process to a sustainable business.
This is very cool. The hub, which is what we will access as we work through the program. Can we take a look at and see what that looks like from the student side?
Sure. It starts with a video on how to use the tool. So we want to guide you through that process and make it as easy as possible for you as well. We then have the entire curriculum down the left-hand bar of your screen as you're accessing this tool. Now here's where this comes into play. Let's say that you're an experienced speaker, but you signed up for ProTrack. You want to round things out, right? And you have a presentation coming up, or you have a client engagement coming up, and you would like to have some information on the contract, the letter of agreement, and what you would want to put in there. Down the left-hand side, you can jump to that. It's 6th or 7th on the agenda of the department, right? But you can jump to that video, watch that video, get the example, and you're being productive right away. So we have that flexibility within the program, while it's also a very sequenced type look at the curriculum as we go. So that's important. We have a lot of video-based activity going on in the program. And then if you take a look, we also have in each of our videos closed captioning. This is important because, one, often we're watching, while we're commuting, we're on an airplane or whatever, and we're watching a video. You need the sound on. But also, we introduce some terms, some speaker terms that may not be familiar, and being able to see that on closed caption is pretty important. Some complex things happen when we're watching video. Now, we can always go back and rewatch the video, right? That's one of the beauties of the medium. But we also know that there are some key points that jump out, and you don't want to go through the entire video. So, for example, one of the pieces of curriculum, we had a very strong panel of speaker bureau experts, a topic that everybody's interested in. So to highlight and underscore for each of these videos, there's a quiz at the end of the video. And our tool, the hub, actually grades your quiz and helps you work through getting the right answer. So it's an open book test, of course, but we want to reinforce the message. So while we're going to this medium that isn't as, I can't touch you, I can't make sure your head is nodding as we're teaching, we have some tools built in to simulate that as closely as possible to be able to meet those needs. This is the place where you download all of your activity. So, for example, if there was a handout or exercise, these are PDF files that you could fill in the blanks and then save them on your computer in a folder. And this is where you're building that book of ProTrack, right, to get you to that spot. And then we also want to be able to talk to you. So at any point, we have a discussion group where Molly and I are both manning that, as well as the faculty member, to be able to answer any questions that might come up. So right in the middle of what you're doing, you can pop in a question, and we could have some interaction, some teaching, and everybody could see it so that we all learn from that. So that's just an idea of what's happening in the hub. We even have you launching the in-person sessions by making sure the date's there and letting you know that that's the next step in the process. So it's all here within the hub.
This is so exciting. I love learning, and I think this is a wonderful way to accelerate your business and amplify the way you develop through it. So tell me, because it is a lot, what would you say is the time investment for the ProTrack student?
Yeah, it is a lot. And we take the approach of, I like to think of this as graduate school. So while there's a sequence and there's a step-by-step, like graduate school, it's called My ProTrack for a reason. It's very customized, right? So part of this might be that you're going to sit down for coffee with Angie because she has some information that might be helpful. You're customizing your program. With that said, we actually timed out the actual hands-on with the program, and it's well within a guideline that we like to provide to our students that you should be working on ProTrack 4 to 5 hours per week. This is your business, right? We had a candidate, for example, that said, I'm getting married in June. Would this be a good idea for me? Which, no, this is hard work, right? And you're expected to be where you need to be. There's a bond that develops with the student body. We support each other, as you well know. And so a commitment's necessary. It definitely takes some work. What we've done, though, is we've minimized the in-person time. A lot of the studying is happening on your own, but as you saw, with the connector points to the faculty, so you're not all on your own as we do that.
Okay, so last question for you. If for someone like myself that's already been through ProTrack, do you think that it's worthwhile for me to do that again?
Well, one of the benefits of being the ProTrack administrator is that you definitely go through it the second time, right? And we have some history with that. And what I actually paid attention to the people like you that were doing that for the second time. And what they've told us is that because this is a fire hose, because we're building our business and there's so much coming at us, that second time, things click. Like, I can't believe that was covered, right? We miss it because our brains are so busy as we're working through this process. So we have created some special pricing and incentive for alumni of ProTrack to come in our revamped mode and see it again. We feel that might be valuable. So it's the same principle as somebody who's been speaking for a long time. This isn't just for newbies, for people who've been speaking for a long time to come and just round out those edges. And it might be a very good idea for alumni to do that as well.
All right, thank you, Jim. Was there anything else before I close it out?
Just for everybody that's watching, listening, and everybody here in the room, check our website, take a look at the program. We want to get you in and on board and ready to go by January. Thank you very much for listening and taking your time with us. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Molly.